Okay, Alex again. Ben here. I'm here with Matija Radenkovic.
Radenkovic.
Radenkovic. That's a difficult name, maar
Yep.
we gaan verder in het Nederlands, hè, Matija?
Ja.
Hoeveel seizoen BNL rij je nu?
Huh?
Het hoeveelste seizoen van de BNL karting-series rij jij nu? Hoeveelste keer? Is het de eerste keer?
Sorry, maar dat weet ik niet. Ik denk derde keer of zo.
Derde keer.
Of meerdere.
Ja.
Maar sowieso niet de eerste.
Ja.
Dat is al...
Je hebt de leiding in jouw klasse momenteel. Hè? Je staat denk ik een 20-tal punten, 25 punten op voorsprong.
40 denk ik.
Oh,
en
40
met
zelfs
punten, al. 50, ja.
Ja. Oké, kijk je er
naar
naar uit?
Finale dubbel tellen, de punten.
Daarom.
Zoveel.
Ja. Matija, ja, natuurlijk de competitie is sterk. Hè? Mees Houwe is de tweede momenteel.
Ja.
Hoe zie jij de wedstrijd van dit weekend verlopen tussen jullie beiden?
Ik dacht dat het redelijk spannend ging worden. De prefinale voor mij was niet echt spannend, want ik had een goede start, dus ik kon wegrijden. Maar de finale van deze dag was wel spannend.
Ja. Maar voor de rest van het weekend, hoe zie je dan de wedstrijden tegemoet?
Als ik een goede kwalie heb, als ik eerst in top 3 ben, dan zal het normaal heel goed moeten zijn.
Ja.
Dan zou ik ook top 3 moeten eindigen. Maar ik verwacht eerste te worden.
Ja, je bent een snelle rijder. Hè? Je hebt al laten zien dat je mee kan met de top. En ik moet zeggen dat in de mini-klasse, ik zie dat heel graag. Omdat daar echt de kweekvijver zit voor de junioren en daarnaast de senioren. En daar zie je eigenlijk de talenten al naar voren komen. En je bent er zeker in van. En wellicht dat je na dit weekend kan zeggen dat je kampioen BNL bent. Hè?
Ja, ik denk als ik goed heb gerekend, dat ik nu eigenlijk niet meer kan verliezen in BNL-kampioenschap.
Oké, dat zou mooi zijn. Dan ga je waarschijnlijk
maar
met
sowieso,
een...
ook al ben ik nog BNL-kampioen, voor de top gaan.
Ja.
Altijd nog, want ik heb nog podium voor deze race.
Ja.
Dat moet ik ook nog halen.
Ja, dus racepodium en hopelijk ook klassementspodium. We kijken er naar uit om je op het podium te zien, sowieso.
Ja, dat wel, want in BMC was het ook goed, dus dan hoop ik dat hier ook wel goed gaat.
Ja, prima.
En dat verwacht ik ook wel.
Matija, heel veel succes dit weekend en wellicht zien we je hier weer terug.
Ja.
Big thank you to Ben there for having a chat with Matija Radenkovic, who has again, for the second day in succession, taken pole position. And there you have our Minimax drivers. 2 more races to be decided. And Radenkovic took a perfect score yesterday, 2 wins. It's been even Stevens between Tay Stevens and Mies Huben, both tied on 36 points after the day 1 result yesterday. Green flag waves at the end of the dummy grid as the drivers make their way out onto the circuit here at Carlton Genk for Minimax pre-final, day 2. Let's have a look at the starting grid. So with the pole position time of 59.662 seconds, Belgium's Matija Radenkovic in the 196 starts from pole, and alongside representing the Netherlands in the 182, Dave Stevens. 0.275 adrift in what was a hotly contested pole position fight in qualifying early on. Jake Menton in the 131, joined by fellow Dutch compatriot Mies Huben in the 108. Mats van Rooyen in the 103 from Belgium, and from Mats van Rooyen from the Netherlands. My apologies there. 198 of Lawrence Helbos from Belgium alongside each other on row 3. And it's another intermixed Dutch and Belgian row number 4. Courtesy of Kaz Tobin in the 134 and Lars Lambers in the 122, with Latvia's Bruno Brazelis in the 138 completing the 9-strong grid. So they've now completed their sighting lap, and they're now on the formation lap. So 13 minutes plus an additional lap set on the timers once again here at Karting Genk, the home of champions. And it will be down to Radenkovic and Stevens to control the pace. And in the meantime, I've heard that 3 front fairing penalties in Micromax post the pre-final, but all karts, from a technical perspective, checked out okay. So Radenkovic and Hubin, amongst others, were in competition, not just in the BNL karting series, but also maybe, say, the Belgium Max Challenge Chrono Karting this year, and also the International Trophy at Le Mans in late July. They now make their way through turn number 11. The formation, nice and neat and tidy from these 9 young drivers who are about to go into battle for the penultimate time this season. So through turn 12, they trundle into the tram lines. Revs rise. Are we ready? Lights are out. We're off and racing. And Radenkovic gets another good start. Tay Stevens trying to go towards the outside. Mies Hubin looking in the outside of Jake Menton. And using the runoff goes Tay Stevens up the inside of Radenkovic to take the lead. Hubin trying to get through on Lawrence Herboz, but can't get through for third. Side by side for the back 4 competitors going through as Radenkovic back up the inside of Stevens. Herboz and Hubin could have a run going through down the Europolan into turn 7. Hubin looking up the inside. Oh, Herboz completely sideways. Manages to save it. But Hubin gets up into third as a direct result. Down towards turn 10 for the first time. Radenkovic leads. Stevens in second. Hubin in third. Herboz in fourth. Menton, I think, is now in 5th place. And it's the 138 to Brazelis from Latvia, now up into 6th position as they come across the line to complete lap number 1. Lead from Radenkovic over Stevens, 0.242, and there goes Mies Hubin up the inside. The 108 from the Netherlands, very much fired up after yesterday, and is gunning for another race victory this season. And Radenkovic is going to try and close out the season in style, but there are others that are wanting to have a say in that. Through turn 7 comes the entire field a little bit further back. Looks like Mats van Rooyen probably has got past Brazelis for what is now 6th position. And Brazelis started from the back end of the grid in 9th place. And now Radenkovic is starting to pull a lead on Hubin. Radenkovic holds the fastest lap at the moment as we go across the line to complete lap 2. Radenkovic already in the 59s, as is Hubin, and has just set the fastest lap as the 108. As Kanstobben now gets past Brazelis, and Brazelis trying to go side by side through into turn 3. That'll never work unless you can really, truly pin it around the outside, but a little bit further back. Oh my goodness me, elbows out from Jake Menton, trying to get past Lawrence Herboz in the 198 through in towards turn 6, and now he has to wait. Does Menton going into turn 7, and there's a little bit of a touch, and that was the left front of Menton's car on the right rear of Herboz. It might have scuppered the opportunity for Menton. I have seen that before, where Tom Pappenberg had problems with the steering on his kart after a contact with Boris Maximov in one of the races yesterday, and that was the pre-final. One slightest nudge on the steering, it can upset everything on how the kart handles, because you're having to counter steer in order to drive the kart to the best of your ability. Radenkovic's lead over Hubin now stretches to nearly 7 tenths. A little bit further back. Van Rooyen closing in on Herboz through turn number 4. 103, looking to get past the 198, could get the run coming down the Europolan into turn 7. Radenkovic looks to be calmly extending that lead, looks to have been very, very strong this weekend, and also back in Marienburg in the early part of July. Radenkovic has now put in the fastest lap of anybody, 59.430. Mies Huben, best lap from him so far this race, 59.711 on the completion of lap number 2. Lap 4 now in the books as Radenkovic crosses the line, head fully down to get the best aerodynamic properties on a kart that you can, and extends his lead to now 1.152 seconds over Huben. Huben is having to fight with Dave Stevens. Now this is the battle for, I would say, second overall this weekend, but Huben's got to do as much as he can to keep a hold of that championship position that he's got, which is currently second. So across the line once again they go. Huben trying to break the toe of Stevens, but a bit further back. Mats van Rooyen and Jake Menton slipstreaming behind Laurens Herboz going into turn 2. Herboz hangs on to 4th for the moment. A slightly tighter apex taken by the drivers in 4th and 5th. But now Radenkovic's lead is now 1.3 seconds. And the way things are going, Radenkovic might pretty much sew up the title, because this will be the way things are going, this looks to be his 6th victory this season. He's had a second at the pre-final on day 2 at Marienburg as Dave Stevens looking to close in on Mies Huben once again, but unable to get anywhere near to passing the 108. But Mats van Rooyen and Jake Menton are trying to do their level best to get past Laurens Herboz, who sits 4th in the championship, and van Rooyen and Stevens have an opportunity to get more points. But Mats van Rooyen hasn't really been able to capitalise in day 1, but Dave Stevens has, and has taken 36 points. So we head into the last 6 minutes of this race. And without taking drop scores into account, the way things stand at the moment, Matej Radenkovic on 170 points before any drop scores, if applicable, are put in. Mies Huben, 133 points. That is a differential of 37. But nevertheless, there are still battles to be waged on this track here at the Home of Champions. And this battle between Laurens Herboz, Mats van Rooyen and Jake Menton has reached fever pitch. You cannot separate the three, even if you tried. And there goes Mats van Rooyen. It's happened. It was not a case of if, it was a case of when. Mats van Rooyen would pull the pin on the grenade and throw it, but then Laurens Herboz provides a bit of counter-attack fire and gets through on turn 5. That was expertly done. Knew how to read the situation and reacted with split-second precision and accuracy, all at the same point. So Van Rooyen's got to do it all again. Dave Stevens and Mies Houben is now Jake Menton up the inside of Mats Van Rooyen through turn 9. The pair go side by side on the run down to turn number 10. Menton will have the inside line first and gets through. Now takes P5 from the 103 from the Netherlands. Radenkovic just striding on regardless, just concentrating on his own race. And the gap between him and Mies Houben now stretches to 3.239 seconds. Houben still coming under immense pressure from Dave Stevens, and the 108 from the Netherlands is soaking it up like a sponge. As the battle for second and third continues down the Europalan into turn 7 through the chicane, now into the right-hander at 8. Dave Stevens is giving Mies Houben absolutely no room to breathe right now. But Houben has been in these kind of situations before and he's relished it. He's gotten on with the job at hand and to keep ahead. And now Jake Menton fancies a chance to go for 4th. Will he get through? The 131 struggles with the car under braking, but gets the job done on Laurens Herboz. But could Herboz do exactly the same as he did? Yes, he has. Laurens Herboz, an absolutely well-read situation once again. Menton ran wide coming out of turn 3, and it gave that window of opportunity to Laurens Herboz. But Menton now alongside, takes the inside line through turn 7. And now it is a 5-way scrap for 4th place. This has really heated up, and now there's another move. Kaz Tobben up the inside of Mats Van Rooyen. And along with them is Lars Lambers. Van Rooyen gets past Tobben through turn 10. Neatly done by the young Dutchman. We've got just 2 minutes to go, plus an additional lap. Radenkovic has already extended his lead to 4.175 seconds. On lap number 11, we're going to have 3 laps to go, including this one, maybe even more than that, because the pace that they're putting in, the top 3 are consistently running sub 60 seconds on each lap of this 1,360 metre circuit. Menton now trying to break away from Laurens Herboz in the battle for 4th place. Bruno Brazelis, I'll be completely honest here, is trying to catch up with those in front, so it could be a 6-way scrap for what will be 4th on the road as Laurens Herboz sends it up the inside of Jake Menton, who has no other alternative but to use the runoff area. Now runs wide out of turn 3. Van Rooyen up the inside, sideways for Kaz Tobben, who nearly ended up turning that card around. So nearly got caught out by Jake Menton. And Menton using the old think gesture on the side of the race helmet. So Kaz Tobben got a bit of a fright there. Clean up on aisle 3, please. As Radenkovic now comes towards the start-finish line. So we're going to go on to the penultimate lap of the race. 7 seconds on the timer as he crosses the line. Houben and Stevens still battling away for second on the road. Time has hit 0 for the penultimate time this season for these drivers. And Radenkovic has once again just shown the pure pace of the package from Buvin Power. He's left nothing to chance. He's gone out there, put it on pole for 2 days in succession. He's taken 2 victories, which will very shortly become 3 in a row, making it a total of 6 victories this season, as the last lap board is being prepared on the start-finish straights. In the words of Daft Punk for Matej Radenkovic in the pre-final, it's one more time. One last lap. There's one more race to go. Gets his head down. The gap has been extending as now Taze Stevens goes towards the inside of Mies Huben. Huben tries to shut the door, squeezes Stevens, and Stevens has to back out of it. And the gap between first and second now 5.8. But then the battle for 5th place between the likes of, or 4th place even, between Laurens Herboels, Mats van Rooyen, Jake Minton, Kaz Tobben and Lars Lambers is still going to go on to the checkered flag. But someone could make it very interesting by going side by side. It could even be, I've even seen 3 or 4 abreast come across the start-finish line here at Karting Genk. But out of the penultimate corner, he heads down to turn 12. It's 3 for 3. Belgium's Matej Radenkovic crosses the line, takes the checkered flag, and I think provisionally that might have just sewn up this year's title for the youngster from Belgium, Mies Huben, in second, pipping Taze Stevens by just 0.272 after that last lap dash towards turn 2. Saw Huben put the squeeze on, and Stevens had to react accordingly. Laurens Herboels rounds out the top 4. Mats van Rooyen in 5th, ahead of Jake Menton, Kaz Tobben, Lars Lambers, and Bruno Brazelis, rounding out the 9 strong. But Radenkovic 3 from 3. This weekend, he's simply been untouchable.